as compared to sadaqah. And so we wonder, what are the two words? Now, zakah, as-zakah, or in Malay, zakat. Of course, in Arabic, we do not articulate the tamarbuta. We make it sound like a ha, az-zakah, instead of az-zakat, az-zakah. It's derived from the root verb zakah, which means grow, blessings, and purification. So the word zakah, linguistically speaking, it means grow, blessings, and purification. Whereas for sadaqah, it was actually derived from the root verb as-sidq, sadaqah, which means sincerity and honesty. So from here we can see how zakah was named zakah because it grows, it purifies and it blesses. Whereas for sadaqah, it means honesty and sincerity. Why? Because it really proves the sincerity and the honesty of a person. When he gives what is dear to him, it really proves the faith, the kind of faith, the level of iman and piety, God consciousness and God fearing that he has towards Allah Azza wa Jalla. That he is honest and sincere in his faith. That is why he gives out zakat and sadaqah. And so for zakat and sadaqah, one was made obligatory by the Sharia. It was legislated by the Almighty Allah on the second day of Hijrah. And it was made obligatory. It was legislated as mandatory, wajib. Whereas for sadaqah, it is actually an act of voluntary. It is optional, it is preferred, and we can do it or we can choose not to do it. Now, and so let us further break down the differences between zakah and sadaqah. Now, zakah, what was made obligatory by Allah, is to collect excess wealth from rich, wealthy Muslim. You see the word excess wealth that is laying around and to be distributed to the less fortunate. Okay, and I'm gonna break down the definition. Whereas for sadaqah, it is a form of worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal, a taqarrub, getting near to Allah Azza wa Jal, with a non-obligatory donation that we do, not binded by any prerequisites or conditions or whatsoever. Now, what's interesting about zakah is that we are talking about excess money. What money? Excess money. Meaning your surplus, your savings. So if I can just recap on how when we were first born into this world, okay, we were born naked, in the hospital, or bidan, or at home, or in the car, or wherever. Now, with not a single penny on us. We started from zero. And then our family members and families starts to come and, mashallah, they give us hadiyahs, gifts. And especially on the 7th day, which is on the day of Aqiqah, many people would come and do the shaving and the slaughtering, and they would also give gifts. That's where our parents, they then open up a child savings account for us. Usually it's a child's account. So we started off from zero, and then we start to accumulate wealth. 300, 500, 700, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. And then we go into primary school, we go into secondary school, we got our Hari Raya collection, right? And then those after O levels, they will start doing part-time, earning here and there. Now zakah only kicks in when the threshold or the nisab of what was legislated by the Sharia has been met. So what is the nisab? What is the threshold of zakah? Now, if we observe the current gold market, the price for a gram of gold today, March 2024, is $89.53. $89.53. I just rounded up to $90, yeah? Right. So $90 is 1 gram of gold. 1 gram of gold. Now imagine if you have 1 gram, and then 1 gram, and then 1 gram, and then 1 gram, and then 1 gram. Got 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, up to 86 grams. 86 grams of gold, which is equal to $7,700 based on this month's nisab, which is the threshold. Now $7,700 worth of excess money, worth of surplus, worth of savings, money that is laying around that we're not using it. It's not our expenses. It's not our outcome. Yes, we have our income, and then we have our expenses, we have our outcome, right? This is the money after the expenses, after the outcome. It's just surplus money, excess money, additional money. We save it up. And that saving, mashallah, tabarakallah, I mean, we did not use it because the fact that it is laying around is that if we're not using it, if we're using it, then it would not have accumulated to 1,000 or 2 or 3 or 5 or even up to 7,700. Meaning to say on our daily basis, on our life expenses, we can afford and we even have more than what we need for our daily. Hence, we have surplus. Now, zakah would only kick in with the savings of 7.7k, and it's not on our $500, $700. No, la. Because in the eye of Islam, if a person has 86 grams of gold, which is $90 times 86 equals to 7.7k, in the eye of Islam, your well-being. Okay, you're well off, alhamdulillah. Again, you're above average. So in the eye of Islam, if you have less than 7.7k, you're below average. So imagine when we were first born, right, we got $0, and then we start to accumulate wealth, and along the way we are still spending on those wealth here and there, but then we still have 7.7k laying around. Money that is untouched. Then only the obligation of zakah kicks in. And not only that, the cool thing about zakah is that not only that you need to reach 7.7k, there's another prerequisite, there's another condition, there's another term, which is you are able to maintain that 7.7k for what we term it as a haul. A haul is a 1 year Hijriah calendar, 1 year lunar calendar. Muharram, Safar, Rabi' al-Awwal, Rabi' al-Thani, Jamad al-Awwal, Jamad al-Thani, Rajab, Sha'ban, Ramadan, Shawwal, Dhul-Qa'dah, Dhul-Hijjah. At any given point, whenever the Nisab kicks in, we start counting our haul. And 1 year of Hijriah calendar, 1 year of lunar calendar is 11 days lesser than the solar calendar, January to December. So we have 365 days a year. For Hijriah calendar is 354 days a year. So if we need to count our haul, don't go by the normal calendar. If you want to go by the normal calendar, yes, you can, but minus of 11. Because for lunar calendar, for Hijriah calendar, there's only 29 and 30 days in a month. There's no 31. There's only 29 or 30, which accumulates to 354 days. So, a person who has 86 grams of gold, surplus money, excess money, laying around, unused, not the kind that you need to spend on, not on your expenses, left, it's just surplus. You can't even finish that money. And it just starts to accumulate by itself. If you have that, and you're able to maintain it for 354 days, one haul, we are then subjected to how many? To how much? 2.5% of that savings. 2.5%. That was like what? $175? Less than $200 per year. Less than $200 per year. That is like your one meal, in a fancy restaurant. You and your family. And 2.5% as compared to the GST, which is the goods and service tax that we pay every time. That is how much? 9%. So we are paying GST 9% for every purchase, for every service rendered, regardless of your income. Even if you're only earning 500 a month, GST is GST. But zakah is only subjected to those who have nisab, which is 7.7k, and that is if you're able to maintain for a whole of haul, 354 days. But GST is, whether it shine or rain, GST is GST 9%. So what is 2.5% compared to 9%? Brothers and sisters, what is 2.5% compared to 9%? It's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing. It's a quarter of that. Maybe 1/5. Like if you were to, it was said that GST is going to rise up to 10% perhaps. So 2.5 is a quarter of 10%. It's nothing. And that is after fulfilling two terms. The nisab at haul, 7.7k, and maintained for 354 days. A lunar calendar or Hijriah calendar. And why do we do zakah then? Why do we need to? MashaAllah, ya ikhwah. Remember, we started from zero. We were born naked into this world. And for Allah Azza wa Jalla to bless us, to bestow His blessings upon us, for us to have a surplus of 7.7k, aren't we supposed to, to be grateful and thankful to Allah Azza wa Jalla? That we are now above average. We have 7.7k surplus money that we're not using. Shouldn't we be more thankful and grateful to Allah? Shukr to Allah. Allah said, La in shakartum la azidannakum. If you were to be grateful and thankful, I would increase it even more. And guess what? That sum of money, that 2.5%, after all prerequisites met, after all the terms and conditions met, do you know that 2.5% is not even our money anymore? it is haram, it is forbidden, it is prohibited to hold zakat money. It's haram. It's not even our money to begin with. Why? Because it now belongs to the asnaf, to the specified people who were to be distributed to. It's no longer our money. If we still hold on to it, we are eating haram money. If we fail to give zakat, how scary is that? We ought to be grateful. We ought to be thankful to Allah. Yes, just maybe, we were a recipient of zakah before. We were even a recipient of zakah, and Allah then elevated us in our rank. Allah raised us in our status to the point that we have what it takes to give zakah, 7.7k worth of savings, or even more. So Allah raised us in our rank and status. We ought to be grateful to Him, Alhamdulillah, by giving back to the community, by sharing again. And that is like less than 200 a year. For that, if your zakah is 7.7k, of course everybody has different nisab. It starts off at 7.7k, and whatever wealth that you have, you can 10k, 20k, 1M, 5M. But even if you have 10 million and then you're paying 2.5%, and then it sounded like, wow, that's a lot. That's a few thousands. But what is a few thousands compared to the 5M that you have? It is similar to that of 200 compared to someone who only have like 8,000. The weight is the same. The ratio is the same. For a person who only has 100 in his pocket, yes, perhaps $30 is a lot. But for a person who has 10,000 in his pocket, just laying around there, what is $30? It's nothing. So, in Islam, it's very clear, it's very nice, it's so beautiful. Where zakah, again, which was legislated again on the second day of Hijrah, Allah Azza wa Jal said it to be a specified wealth from specified people for specified people. Specified wealth from specified people to specified people too. And these are among the differences of sadaqah and zakah. Okay, there's like more than 10 differences between zakah and sadaqah. To name a few, number one was specified wealth. In zakah, there's a list of wealth that are subjected to zakah. Gold, silver, crops, like vegetables and fruits, livestock, like camels and cows and sheep, trade or business, wahakada. So only those are subjected to zakah whenever it meets the requirement. But for sadaqah, there's no specified wealth. We can give sadaqah just about with any wealth we want. Anything. Again, with regards to Sing dollar, well, Sing dollar is money which was compared to gold. That's why we say gold 86 grams is 7,700 Sing dollar. So that falls under gold. But for sadaqah, you're free to give based upon any wealth, any of your asset. Doesn't matter. Again, there's no conditions. There's no nisab, there's no hawl. It's free and easy. Now, so the idea is that zakah was made obligatory. At least we are giving. It was made obligatory upon us to give back. If a person abstain and himself and refrain from giving sadaqah, that is his choice, his or her choice. But zakah, at least, it is what? It is wajib. Now, from specified people, we mentioned the terms and conditions, people who have excess money laying around. Rich, wealthy Muslim. Now, to be then distributed to the less fortunate. For specified people, the asnaf, the specified people, we got the faqir, we got the miskin, we got the amil, we got the mu'allaf, we got the riqab, we got the gharimin, we got the fi sabilillah, we got the ibn sabil. 8 asnaf. 8 asnaf of people. I'm not going to be talking about the 8 asnaf. Now, I'm just going to touch a glimpse of it now, because to break down the 8 asnaf is going to take us the whole day. So TAA actually distribute to the asnaf, and that majority of the asnaf are below PCI. Again, they have an income, okay, a total combined income of their household. Their per capita income is $500 and below. In order to be eligible to be a recipient of TAA funds, you need to have a PCI of $500 and below. The per capita income, meaning to say father, mother, children, combined income divided by the number of pets, divided by the number of individuals in the household, equals to 500 or less. Then only are you eligible to be beneficiary of TAA funds. So that will be part under the faqir and miskin, along with many other differences would be that for zakah, it is up to our choice, and that Allah Azza wa Jal has not made it a system where it was deducted from you automatically. Now, I understand that some people would have wouldn't it be good if we have a system that would deduct our obligatory zakah automatically? But the thing is that it needs to come from your deepest and honest, sincere heart. So it must not be forced. It's like salah. Salah was made obligatory, yes. Some people pray, some people doesn't. So you must be sincere, you must be honest. As much as it is wajib, but even from the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was no system to enforce. Like for example, when was the last time you got an amil of zakah? A person who, administer the zakah, checking on your savings account every now and then. Have you fulfilled your zakah? Have you fulfilled the zakah? No. Nobody does it. So it must be from the sincerest of our heart. Yeah. From the sincerest of our intention that we are giving out zakah. Other differences, zakah cannot be distributed to our ascendants and descendants. Meaning to say, we cannot give our father, our grandfather, and whatnot. Neither that nor the descendants. So we cannot give our own children, grandchildren, wahakadha. It's not permissible to give zakah to our ascendants and descendants. Whereas as compared to sadaqah, we're allowed to. There's no restriction to that. Another one, difference between zakah and sadaqah would be, for a husband, he is not allowed to give zakah to his wife. So no wife, no ascendants, no descendants. You know why? Husbands are not allowed to give zakah to his own wife? Because she is under his care, his nafqah. So he cannot give zakah to his father, his wife, his children, because they are all under his care. Not permissible. Sadaqah, yes, you can give sadaqah to your parents and children and wife. Now, but then we have an interesting fact here. If husbands are not allowed to give zakah to wives, what if we were to turn it around? Would rich and wealthy wives be made permissible to give zakah to her husband if her husband happens to be in one of the 8 asnaf? Is it permissible? Yes, it is permissible for wife to give zakat to her husband. Why? Because her husband is technically not under her care. She's not obligated to give nafkah to her husband, not the other way around. So husbands are not allowed to give zakat to wives, but wives, if the wife is, mashallah, she's wealthy, or she inherited from her late father, mashallah, assets by the millions, right? And the husband, oh, miskin, the husband is in debt, the husband is faqir, the husband is a mu'allaf perhaps, she attracted the husband to embrace Islam, or the wives is allowed to, they are allowed to give zakat to the husbands. MashaAllah, good news for the husbands, yeah? Now, at least, a change of air for wives. Now, as how there are many other differences, more than 10, and I've named a few, but all these discussions of zakah and sadaqah sparks another question. And I'm not sure whether or not all of you who are present here ever thought about it. Now, we know that Allah is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, right? We always recite the Quranic verses by reciting Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Now, the question that's been lingering in many people's mind, if Allah is that compassionate, if Allah is that loving and caring, why are there needy people in this world, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, why can't Allah just eliminate poverty with His kun fayakun, right? Be, happen, and it'll happen. Why? Why He's letting all this happen? The needy, less fortunate, the poor. If we can just take a step back and think deeply, we will find that the fault is not in Allah's management of this universe. La. It is actually our fault as mankind. Do you know why? Life is but a test. Life is but a test. Allah is testing us. You see, Allah has given and bestowed His blessings upon all. You got the rich now to observe whether or not the rich would fulfill the zakah, and beyond that, which is sadaqah, to give to the needy. So Allah actually has given us all. Whether or not we give our needy brother, whether or not we give our needy sister, is the question. So it was never Allah's fault. If Allah has given us, and Allah has legislated zakah with the terms and conditions, but we abstain from giving out the charity, we refrain from donating, we are greedy, we are stingy, then who are to be blamed except us? Should we blame Allah? No.
Allah has given us as trustees. We are trustees. Allah wants to see whether or not we give. If we do not give, we are the one who are letting all this poverty happening. It's not Allah. So whose fault was it? It's our fault. It's like a father who has given 2 sweets to the older brother and said to the brother, give your smaller brother the other sweet. But then the older brother kept it to himself. Whose fault was it? The older brother's fault. It's not Allah's fault. Allah has given us. Allah will test whether or not the rich will give and whether or not the poor would practice patience and sincerity with the qada and qadar, with the predestination, with the decree that Allah has set upon them. So for the rich, tested by whether or not you give. For the poor, tested whether or not you have that sincerity, ikhlas in accepting taqdeer, qada and qadar. And so Allah has set the risk for all, but if we withheld it, we abstained and refrained from sharing, then it is entirely our fault and not Allah's fault. We are the one causing the poverty to happen. There are too many of eligible zakah giver who are withholding zakah. There are too many people who are supposed to give up zakah, but no, they choose to hold that zakah money, they choose to hold that haram money, because that is the rights of the asnaf, the rights of the people. It's no longer your money. If you use that money, it's haram. So who's at fault? Is it Allah at fault? No. We are at fault. We're all being tested. And I hope that we all pass with flying colors now and not fail miserably. We ought to be grateful and thankful. We started from zero, we have surplus. We give back, alhamdulillah. It's only 2.5 out of the nisab, out of the wealth that we have. But we still have more. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 43, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. And perform the salah and give zakah and pray with the congregants. That was the obligation of zakah. All these that are happening, it is of our own fault. Everybody knows Elon Musk, right? Right? The wealthiest person. One of the wealthiest person. There's Jeff Bezos, there's Elon Musk, there's Bill Gates, there's a list of people, yeah? Do you know that this is based on facts and studies? Do you know that based on the current asset that he has, if he were to be a Muslim, Amin, Ya Rab, one day, say Amin, if he were to be a Muslim, Elon Musk, and he gives out zakah 2.5%, just 2.5% out of his current asset, he would have solved the world's poverty. The whole world's poverty. Imagine that. 2.5% out of whatever that he has. And that is nothing. Again, 2.5% is nothing. He would have solved world hunger. He would have solved the poverty of the world. And so it is actually our fault entirely, not Allah, not Allah's. If we were to fulfill the obligations and our responsibilities, we will find that everybody would be stable, inshallah. Again, like the glorious time of the Khalifa Umar bin Abdul Aziz. Ever heard of that Khalifa? Umar bin Abdul Aziz? Do you know that during his time, the Baitul Mal okay, the zakah money, and the Khalifa was having trouble looking for recipients of zakah. You know why? Because nobody is eligible. Everybody are well off. Because it was distributed so fair and just in such a way that to the point one day there's no eligible recipient of zakah. There's no longer eligible recipient of zakah because everybody are well off. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So we want to go back to that glorious day, inshallah, bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. And I would love to close my session with a small remark where Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ma naqasat sadaqatun min malin." Right? Charity would not decrease our wealth. One day, Aisha radiallahu anha was told by the Prophet to give out donations, to give out charity. And then when she came back, she said to the Prophet, "Ya Rasulullah, I've given out the charity as told, and this is what remains." This is what remains for us. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam corrected her and said, "Ya Aisha, that remains. This will perish." Rasulullah said, the one that you've given out, that would be the one that will remain in the form of rewards in Akhirah. The one that we eat will actually perish. So you need to get your words right. It's not this is what remains. No. That was distributed, that will remain, this will perish. We will eat and go. So zakah, last but not least, okay, is parallel to that of a stagnant water. If you have a puddle of water, stagnant water, it will start to accumulate filth, right? But if you were to flow the water, if you have a flowing water, like a flowing river, no filth will accumulate. And that is similar to that of our wealth. If we keep it stagnant, it will accumulate filth. There are many sins in it. But if we flow it, we give it to the rightful recipients, then it is like a flowing river where we have clean wealth. Because it's flowing, it's not stagnant. And whatever comes out, Allah will sure guarantee that it will be replaced with even more, 700 times or even more. هذا ما أقول لكم وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وبالله التوفيق والهداية والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.